All right, Evan. So we're back. We've done 13 episodes.
Yep.
Um, just to run some numbers here, we've done 17 teardowns. 12 of them have been full teardowns. 5 quick takes was our last episode. Trying that out. Curious, like, what have you seen, and just have you lined up with any of your ones that you said that you would see in theaters, if any, or would you wait till streaming? I can give you my breakdown of the movies that are available now from the episodes that we've done in sort of chronological order that's available. Companion is out, has come out. Heart Eyes, The Monkey, Mickey 17, Novocaine, and then from our quick takes last week, The Alto Knights, The Assessment, Locked, Snow White, and Popeye the Slayer Man. So of those, for me, I've seen one, two, three, four, five of the movies: Companion, Hard Eyes, The Monkey, Mickey 17, and Novocaine, all in theaters.
Oh, you saw
Um,
Mickey 17?
yes,
Oh,
I saw
okay.
Mickey
We haven't
17.
talked about that offline. Okay, don't tell me about it. No spoilers. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and so for you, like, of those, what have you seen or streamed or whatnot?
I have seen 0 of them so far. Of our
Zero.
list of that list, I believe I was either stream or pass on most of them, with wanting to see Mickey 17 in theaters. So I definitely want to see Mickey 17. I got a
Well, you
plan on
should
that.
definitely see that soon because it didn't do well, and it's probably gonna leave theaters relatively quickly. So
Okay. Okay,
no one
date
wants
night
to see
coming up.
original
Date night.
movies.
I know. It bugs me. I will see it in theaters. I'm gonna
You're not
figure out
helping
plan
the
a date though.
cause, Evan.
I am if I watch it on streaming, or I buy it on streaming.
Well, then
The other
they're not
ones,
gonna put it in
uh,
theaters. They're not gonna
the
put
other
movies
one,
in
I know.
theaters.
The other ones, I don't believe they're on streaming yet, so I haven't
You could rent
streamed. And
them.
some,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I know. I mean, those ones though, I think were on my borderline that I was gonna like. I wouldn't rent them unless you were like, these are amazing movies and they pass beyond the genre that was like, you know, not necessarily up my alley kind of
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, none of these are available, like, on Netflix or Amazon. You can rent Companion.
I did pass by a theater that had a giant Novocaine poster in, on display. I think it had actually Novocaine and Death of a Unicorn, were the 2 shows that were playing at the theater. It's like a small theater. It's like, okay.
Death of a Unicorn comes out this weekend. Will you see it in theaters? I can't remember your rating. I believe you were like, you would see it.
But I
I
can't double
was
feature. I don't have
I
time.
was a streamer.
I mean, I definitely wanna watch it. I definitely think it'll be a blast.
I'm really curious when you're gonna
Okay,
see
okay, you know
of
what? You know
what
what?
are these movies?
If it was between those 2, I think I might try and see Death of a Unicorn in the theaters, because I feel like the audience experience will be really good, while I could, like, rent or buy Mickey 17, and I'll watch it at home on my projector. Because I feel like Death of a Unicorn will play, even though it's not, we talked like a big action movie, it is kinda epic and funny, and I feel like the crowd experience will play into that viewing experience. Either that or you have to be, like, home and super high.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing. Well, I know you're not most of the movies you said you wouldn't see in theaters, which I get. So, but we've gotten close to a couple that you said you would. So it's like, all right, are you gonna do it or not?
Yeah, this is interesting because it's where we fall. You will probably see more movies in theaters than you say you're going to see, and then I a little bit behind.
Yeah, the Novocaine was like the one that I said I would stream it.
Mhm.
Me, or
But you saw it in theaters, right?
I did. I think I said I would stream it, but or I wouldn't rush to theaters. But I ended up seeing it opening weekend,
Was it was it
anyways.
was it worth seeing in theaters? Like,
It was.
if you saw it in streaming, would it have been a different experience, or do you think did the theater add to it?
I mean, the theater that I saw, beat what sort of like speakers and screen size that I have at home. Obviously,
But was the experience do you think the experience of being with that bigger screen, surround sound, whatever, setup of that theater, do you think that added enough that made it worthwhile? Or if you, like,
No, I
watched it
don't
at
think
home on your
so.
big screen, you would have had as good a
I
time too?
think I think I would have enjoyed it the same. The theater itself, the audience, a lot of times the theater experiences you want to, the audience, seeing it
Mhm.
with an audience. There
Yeah.
wasn't a lot of people in the theaters, unfortunately. I guess, that's sort of like the problem with, you know, new original movies. People just want to see sequels and remakes and all of that. So
But I mean, at the other side, if the theater experience was so necessary, then it might not do well on streaming. That this might be. I feel like Novocaine is a movie that's going to do well on streaming. I mean, you've got a name actor that's got good comedy chops. You've got different sort of cameos, and it's one of those movies that like, oh, this would be like a fun date night movie to just chill and laugh and enjoy. That I feel like people would put on pretty quickly.
yeah, no, I'd recommend it for streaming. Even if you can rent it for like $10. But
Yeah.
if you want to wait for your to hit Netflix, that's all the same there.
But and then there's that debate on, buying it as a digital thing, because when you buy a digital movie, you aren't actually buying it. You are like temporarily licensing it and you own it as long as it's on that platform. But if it somehow stops licensing to that platform, it just disappears, which is
Yeah.
kind of absurd. And I know you're a big like own as Blu-ray fan, I think probably because of that, right?
Yeah, that's part of it. I prefer buying the physical media because yes, I own it. It's not going to disappear from Apple's digital library or Fandango's digital library. Um, and also it is a better quality if you break it down. You're not reliant on the
Well, as long as it's
streaming.
Blu-ray and not DVD. I mean, DVD, 720 is DVD, so
That's true. No, obviously, yeah. But yeah, obviously you're reliant on of your streaming, your internet bandwidth and all of that. So
yeah. I think there is a legal debate of sorts on this, but what I feel is within people's wheelhouses. If you own the Blu-ray, you have a Blu-ray player on your computer, you can rip it to a digital file, and then like my device that I use a Shield TV Pro, and I can put a hard drive on and then play and my digital movies from it. And so what I've done is I've downloaded, or not downloaded, I've ripped all of my Blu-rays. I own them, I bought them, I still have them, and I don't put them online or anything. They're just on a hard drive, and that hard drive is attached. So I can use, VLC player and play the full res version. And it's easy, it's quick. And if it disappears from online, stuff, I still have it because I did have the actual media. So that's like sort of my middle ground.
mhm. I've heard of a lot of people who do that as well. There was a story that came out about Warner Brothers DVDs from like a period of 2 years. They are like dying. These discs that were like dual layer, supposedly they're just like becoming duds.
Oh
Uh,
no.
yeah. I was like, holy cow. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a full list. People have like reported like, oh, my this DVD or this DVD and this Blu-ray don't work. And it's a mix. There was like a lot of like DVDs, but then like people started learning that some of the dual layer discs from Warner Brothers have been failing and they're just dead
Are they
now.
doing a replacement program? I feel like
Um, it
I don't know.
what I read that is yes, if the title is available.
Gotcha.
All right, so what are we doing today?
Oh, we've got a great one. Well, I mean, subjective, I guess, to our teardown. So, uh, I'm co-host Evan Van Sisel with co-host Angel Acevedo, and today we're discussing the trailer for Freaky Tales. Want to give the rundown?
Yeah, Freaky Tales. This is directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, a directing duo. They've done Half Nelson, Mississippi Grind, Captain Marvel, along with some other features, and they've done some HBO and Showtime series. It's an ensemble piece, so a lot of characters, a lot of actors. Just to name a few: Pedro Pascal, Jay Ellis, and Ben Mendelsohn. And it's coming out on April 4th. an interesting fact that I came across. The film is named after Two Shorts, a rapper. 1987 song "Freaky Tales" off his album "Born to Mac."
Mm.
Never heard of him, so
I
I'll have
feel
to
like
check him out.
I've heard of Born to Mac, but also since it's set in 1987, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
So
oh,
this,
you want a interesting alternative, music reference from this movie that I found?
yeah.
I can save it for later. No, I'll drop it now, I'll drop it now. So, on the opening, like, the opening moments, you see a mixtape, and the mixtape is then that cassette gets put into the, cassette player of the car, and one of the songs on it is "Take Warning" by Operation Ivy. And the curious thing is, "Take Warning" by Operation Ivy was released March 1989, which is 2 years after when this movie takes place.
Wow, interesting. Little continuity, not continuity. What do they call it?
Like a chronology,
Yeah.
uh, kind of thing, or unless, maybe it's some weird thing where it's like a underground music scene, which seems to be one of the storylines, and
Hmm.
that's the band or whatever that, breaks out a couple years later or something.
Mm.
But anyway, yeah, I thought it was interesting because yeah, mixtapes. Go ahead though. Sorry.
So, just a quick log line. It's about four interconnected stories set in 1987 Oakland, California. Tells about love of music, movies, people, places, and memories beyond our knowable universe.
Memories beyond our knowable universe. That's a
That's the IMDb log line. So this is our first anthology film.
mm.
Not that these are very common, but yeah, it's been a while. I feel like since a new anthology film has come out. I can't remember the last one that's come out.
And we were sort of discussing this, like what defines an anthology film. Like I would say you've got yeah, Cloud Atlas, the one that comes to mind, Crash. I mean, Pulp Fiction is kind of an anthology film, right? In a way, in a weird way. Does it count as an
Yeah,
anthology film?
I guess what's the definition of an anthology film? Does an anthology film require that each story has a beginning, middle, end, like that it's just
I
closed,
was assuming
or
it was like I was assuming like anthologies to me is there are multiple protagonists, but only one protagonist in a story, but those stories end up intertwining and being connected.
Mhm,
So you've got sort of different people's perspectives that you're going from. If it's, it's this person's perspective, it's this one, and then they interconnect. Well, like, I mean, Cloud Atlas is actually an interesting one because each of the characters, the actors play different people within different kind of timelines. So
mhm,
they don't interconnect, but they interconnect in the fact that they're like the actors or the people in those timelines are like living different lives or similar ones over and over and over again. While like Crash, there's the racist cop who's dealing with stuff, and then the couple who gets harassed by the racist cop, and then you've got the woman who needs help, and but they're each you see from their perspective. I feel like that's what makes the anthology is it's almost as if each one could have a longer movie in and of themselves, but
mhm.
instead you just see it from the different perspectives. But I don't know if you agree.
I look at an anthology film as being sort of like the classic where it's like four short films, 4 to 5 short
Hmm. Hmm.
films within a movie, and typically those are directed by separate directors. Some classic ones, a lot of them have been horror movies, like Creepshow 1 and Creepshow
Hmm.
2, the Twilight Zone movie from the 80s.
Would you consider Moonlight an anthology because it's got uh like fully realized kind of shorts, but it's the same person at different ages. So you do get this bigger story when they're combined, but they
Mhm.
are all within self-contained stories in a way.
I guess
And then
no.
I'll go on another tangent. I'll go on another tangent. So there's this one of my favorite like sets of plays, I guess it is. The um, author is Alan Ayckbourn, and it's called The Norman Conquests. And there are 3 different plays, full plays that they perform. And but the thing that's really interesting is it's the exact same characters over the exact same time period in each of the 3 plays, and they each take place in one area. So one takes place in the kitchen, and the whole play is in the kitchen. The other one takes place in the living room, same house, and then the third one takes place, or whichever order, in the garden. And you get a full play of all that's going on between these people. And there's like the guy Norman, and he's like cheating with, I think, like 2 or 3 of the sisters in this thing. It's like it's insane kind of comedy thing. But you can see just one play. But when you see all 3 plays, you get more and more of the bigger picture of what's going on that you didn't see in the other ones. Would that be considered an anthology play? Like a play anthology? Or would it just be a cool way of doing a play?
That seems very akin to Moonlight, and that it's
But Moonlight takes place at different timelines.
true.
This one's taking place all at the same time,
Yeah.
and they are interconnected. That
Mhm.
said, different than, I would say, Crash or Pulp Fiction or some of these other ones. They're not interconnected stories. For Norman Conquest, it's all the same story. You're just seeing different parts of it. So maybe that makes it not an anthology. It's just, something different.
Mhm.
Uh, but then I think what you're saying is the classic anthologies, they're not interconnected necessarily, other than maybe a theme of
Yeah,
like
a theme
creepy
or
tales.
Yeah, yeah, I think a theme, like, just the definition of anthology is a collection of literary pieces by various different
Hmm.
authors.
Hmm.
So, that's where, it's like you see, like, I think there's a movie called New York, I Love You. It's
Hmm.
all
Sounds
these,
familiar.
I don't know how many how many films are in it, but it's an anthology film, all centered around stories set in New York.
Yeah, I mean, and I would say, like, literary wise, there are definitely short story anthologies, and there are themes. I just actually did a like audiobook for one. It was about like superheroes who are coming from interesting backgrounds, and it was 18 different short stories, and that was the theme. So maybe this is sort of a play on anthologies.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, we'll get into it. It does have. I mean, granted, it is directed by just one team. They're directing duo.
Hmm.
They work
Hmm.
together, so it's not like two different directors. But they're obviously doing the whole film and all the story, so to speak. But they all have
Well,
sort of like a distinct look too
mhm,
to it.
mhm. I was gonna say it's interesting. So I've seen Half Nelson and Captain Marvel. I haven't seen Mississippi Grind, but I mean Half Nelson and Captain Marvel are very different films. And I mean Half Nelson was like an acclaimed indie. I mean I think it was starring Ryan Gosling still. I mean it had some name people, but the concept was very sort of dark comedy, which is really interesting. Just they don't have this directing duo doesn't have sort of a niche that they like always do. It's not like, ooh, the female action star. Uh,
Yeah,
so I think it'll be interesting.
yeah. I guess what are your instant thoughts on after watching the trailer?
Um, I I'm mixed. I love the trailer. I also am curious if the movie's gonna be as good as the trailer. Like, it almost felt like the movie was built for this trailer. Like, you've got the I mean, it leans into the genre, like the '80s style of just a lot of clips, and they did a great job of editing, where I feel like they edited for the trailer in that a lot of this character says something, and then we cut to another character, and it's a response, and then this character says another thing, that I don't think they're actually saying it to each other. I think they're different moments in the movie, and because they interconnect, they play really well together. So I'm curious, how much it'll actually play out as smoothly. You've got, the great soundtrack. You've got throwing in there a scratching of records. A very much of the style of DJs. At that time in the '90s. You've got the like I would say prototypical voiceover. I wrote this down. It's like the tale as I know it to be, and like this is the stuff of legends. Like those are. almost cliche, but at the same time, it's that kid sitting on the block telling the story to somebody else about what happened and how it all went down. And like it makes me nostalgic that I love like the long log line that you read of, it will tell you about love of music, movies, people, and places and memories beyond our knowledgeable, our knowable, sorry, our knowable universe. It's like definitely a throwback to people who like that period is in their head. It's like playing to that audience. So I like that, and I also like the sort of almost, oh, what's his name? What's the movie with Michael Cera and he's fighting the boyfriends, and it's
Oh, Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim. It's got almost like some Scott Pilgrim versus the World feel in one of the lines. The one that seems to be like the for the outcasts versus I think they're skinheads, like, Nazi skinheads, but you've got a little bit of, like, cartoon drawings in the background. I noted at, like, 140 in, you get that cool, like, green kind of punch effect where it, like, punches and you get the green light, like, it's very much, to me, came off as, like, an anthem kind of feel. Like, it's just, like, built up and you're like, "Yeah!" Like, and they even do a reference that I was thinking of where is I think the last line by Pedro Pascal, and it's like, you messed with the wrong warrior," which made me think of Warriors, which is another really classic 80s film with like people fighting back against sort of, the Creed bad guys gang movie set in New York. And you're just like rooting for these underdogs to survive and fight back. That was a lot for me. What's your thought?
Instant thought is Pedro Pascal. Like, he must be on some kind of quest to be in as many projects as humanly possible. He has like, holy jeez, he's in like so much stuff. I mean, we obviously
I'd watch him in all of them though.
we did Fan 4. He's in that.
Mhm.
And I think in the last episode I actually said a similar comment about Bill Skarsgård, and I'm wrong. It's Pedro. He's in everything. Like last week, he
Well,
has an I just
when
saw.
people get hot, they get the roles, and you
Yeah.
gotta jump on it.
Like yeah, like last week. So yeah, he's got Fan 4 coming out this summer. I saw another trailer that dropped last week called Materialists.
Mhm.
Um, Gladiator 2 from last fall. He's doing a new Ari Aster's new movie. Heck, he was in a Apple AirPods
No,
short
yeah,
film
yeah.
commercial directed by Spike Jones. Like he's like everywhere.
He's hot right now, but I think that happens, like, what's the dude who's in the Twister, sequel or remake or whatever, who
Glenn
was
Powell.
also
He's
in.
not in
Yeah.
everything though. He's
Yeah, but
not there
he's in a
yet.
lot, though.
But okay, name one, two, three, four, five. Name six things right now, because that's what I just
That
did.
he's in? I mean,
I mean,
I watched 1 and I didn't enjoy the movie, so I didn't watch any more.
but I mean, he's not there. He's gonna be there, assuming he doesn't have a flop.
Yeah.
To that, that's just like what stuck out. And when we get to the
Yeah, yeah.
YouTube,
But, I
when
mean,
we
I feel
get to
like
the YouTube comments, you'll see a lot of people have the same
but
sentiment as I
but,
did.
I mean, Chris Evans is in a ton of stuff, like, I feel like there are different people that y they just get hot, and it's like I feel like when somebody gets hot as an actor, the industry both they wanna capitalize on it because like, "Oh, this person is hot," so people will go see the movie because they're in it, and because they're in a lot of things, people will go see their movie, and so it's sort of like, steamrolls on itself. I
Yeah, no,
also just
I get it.
I
It's
also just
just
think he's great to watch. I don't know. I mean, I agree. But there's some people like Timothy Chalamet, like power on him. He's also in tons of stuff. But I'd watch Pedro Pascal in movies over and over again, and Timothy Chalamet, I wouldn't as much.
all right.
I don't
Well,
know. I don't know.
that's just yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. But
and
I agree.
also
I agree.
he also looks, and I think what also like plays into it, he just looks the same too. That's all.
He's got a scar. He's got a scar goes
Well,
across
yeah,
his face.
I feel
It's
like that
so
was like, hey,
different.
we got to make you look different. We'll just give you a scar. We'll keep your hair the same and all this other stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
He just looks
Well, he's.
the
I mean,
scruff and all of that. Like he literally looks the same. All right, that
I
was
mean,
my first.
we've also talked about this, like, leading man versus, character actors, and he's kind of a leading man, so he's always gonna kinda look the same, like, he plays, like, same, but different characters.
I guess it just sticks out more when he's in a lot of stuff. Like he's also in a TV show. Do you want
Yeah.
like Last of Us? Like yeah, so, um, but anthology films. I'm a fan of anthology films. A few of the ones that I like. And again, like going back to like what we talked about, like is this truly an anthology film? Trick or Treat's a great one that I liked. Four Rooms from if you remember that from the mid
Was ooh,
'90s.
yeah, yeah, no, no, I remember that with Madonna, right? Uh, wasn't Madonna in that for a second? It's set in the hotel, right?
Yeah, it's in the hotel. So
Was Grindhouse? I'm trying to remember. I never saw Grindhouse, but I felt like a
no, Grindhouse is just two movies,
okay.
two full
Oh,
movies.
okay.
So, Four Rooms wasn't that great. I think it was like three-fourths good, but
Mhm,
all
mhm.
directed by different directors, the four different segments.
Oh my gosh, wait. It is I'm having a weird flashback. Is there a part in that movie where somebody ends up chopping somebody's finger off with a
Yes.
okay, yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So this trailer, it has a lot of energy to it.
Mhm.
The
Oh, yeah, it
edits, the
does.
fast cuts, the music. I like the music.
The titles, they did a great job with the titles, like, playing into it.
Yeah, the title design's great. It reminded me when I watched it the first time of like an A24 movie,
Mhm.
a trailer with it had like an A24 vibe to it with the title graphics, the design, the song use, the sound editing. It reminded me a bit of like the Maxine trailer that came out last year.
Mhm.
That movie itself is also set in the 80s, and they definitely play up the 80s vibe in that trailer with the
What
music and the
what
title
about, like,
design.
Russo brothers? That vibe too?
The movie, the trailer?
No, the trailer don't the Russo brothers do Stranger Things?
No, they
Oh,
don't do
crap.
Stranger Things.
Who does Stranger Things?
Duffer
Oh,
Brothers.
that's what I meant. Oh, man. Okay, that makes me feel better about not enjoying Electric State that much. Okay, cool.
So, yeah, where was I going with this? Yeah, so the trailer itself had a lot of energy to it. I I enjoyed that, and the music again. I think I talked about this in one episode where the trailer has like really good sound editing, soundtrack. It just kind of
Yeah.
like hooks me and attracts me. I'm like, oh,
And it jumped
digging
between
this.
songs too, right? Like, it wasn't just one song. It was, like, a bunch because it had, like, a little bit of rap, and then it had kind of like a synthesizer kind of like, uh,
It did. It sort of
energy.
did. I looked up to see what song is used in the trailer, and the featured song is called "Open Your Eyes" by
Mm,
Lords of the New Church. Never heard of them. Never heard of the song. And I started listening to that original song, and you hear it in the trailer, but they obviously enhance it. They add to it. They do a little slight remix to it, so to punch it up to fit the
mhm.
edit that they're doing. What else? The stylized violence is pretty cool. Sort of reminded me a bit of Sin City, the movie from 2005.
Also, I just wanted to note, "Freaky Tales" by Too Short is actually one of the songs on the mixtape.
Oh, okay, that's on the
Because because
in
yeah,
that opening shot.
yeah, and "Open Your Eyes," I'm trying to see if it's in there, but, I was looking up some stuff, and I swear, like, "Open Your Eyes" was a lyric in one of the songs on that mixtape that I had looked up.
Well, you
So they
definitely
might
hear
yeah,
you
yeah,
definitely hear that lyric in the trailer from
yeah.
that song.
But you were saying, sorry, the
Oh yeah, this
stylized music. I mean, also, whatchamacallit, Kill Bill, like, especially Volume 2, I feel like. Well, I mean, you got swords, like, it's sort of throwback style.
yeah, the what in the trailer of the movie where the basketball players like slicing people. Is that what you're
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
to?
yeah, yeah. I mean, also a little bit of what is it? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like that ending thing where Brad Pitt is kind of going crazy at
Hmm.
the end, like very much. It was like, I know this is a weird thing to say. It's like if you had a sword and happened to just be trained as a badass sword martial artist, like this is how you imagined it would play out. Like especially if it was in your head and you were the hero of the story.
Yeah. No, it has this sort of fantastical hyper realism. The basketball players like flying through the
Yeah,
air with the
yeah.
sword, and overall that looks fun. The different stories all have a different look to them. And I
Hmm,
guess
hmm.
looking at the different stories, this is what I sort of broke down as like what the four different stories are. There's Pedro Pascal doing the one last heist. That seems to be one
Yep.
story. Um, the breaking into Sleepy Floyd's house, the heist that's going on. That appears to be one story. The gang fight versus the punks.
Yep.
That seems to be one. And then the other one, which is not featured as much, with the two female singers, the underground
Yeah, yeah,
music.
rappers underground. Yep.
Yeah, so like that, those four seem to be the four storylines, but there does seem to be some crossover, more interconnecting. Like you do see shots of the boss or whatever, the guy Ben
Mhm.
Mendelsohn's character is talking to Pedro Pascal. You're gonna keep
Oh,
working.
okay,
He's
here's the thing, though,
in.
but here's the thing. Is he actually talking to Pedro Pascal? Because I feel like that could have been intercut from a couple of different scenes, and because they're one shots,
Mhm.
and I don't know if Pedro Pascal's character that shot that they were matching it to is actually in the same environment.
It Yeah, I took it, and maybe it's just a sleight of hand edit. But it doesn't match because you see Ben Mendelsohn in
Mhm,
two different looks of the movie. So like all the four stories also have different looks. Two of them
mhm,
are very distinct, like the heist sequence storyline. It has a 240 aspect ratio, and that's very distinct from everything else, which is more, probably like 185 or whatever, or 16 by 9
mhm.
aspect ratio. And then the gangs versus punks has like a grainy, dark
Yep.
grindhouse look to it. So those two are very distinct, and then like the other ones with just like one last heist with Pedro Pascal is sort of like just more like the straight look. It's warm, it's crisp, it's saturated, and the two female singers, very similar to that, but at night.
Yep. Well, and also I feel like the Pedro Pascal storyline has a lot of, earth tones. Like, it's not many popping, 80s style things that
Yeah.
the other ones kind of have.
So yeah, those are the couple moments where I saw that there's that interconnected, because you do see the Ben Mendelsohn character in both sort of
Mhm.
the 16 by 9 full frame footage story and in the 240. So I'm curious if this will be played like one by one, or will they sort of cut back and forth between the stories that way. So curious there about that.
Well, and also I think it's interesting I was just looking up one of the quotes, "A total blast from start to finish," was, Joe Blow Movie Network, which is just a website that, like, comments on movies.
Yep. Yeah, I used in my college days, that's where I would go to read up on the latest movie news. Surprised they're still kicking around. What do you think about when movie trailers throw in, or when movie trailers throw in quotes like this? It's, obviously in TV spots you'll see like quotes when a movie's out. It's like, "Oh, this movie's great. The best best movie I've seen in years." But like in the first trailer of a movie, it's not very common. What do you think? What do you think about that?
I thought it worked really well in this one because it fit the style. Like, I felt like it very fit the style, but, like, say the in quick takes we did, the Alto Knights had that one of, like, from the hit makers behind blah, 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 and that one, it didn't work.
Well, that's
Like,
different.
and
That's not a
yeah.
review. That's more of
That's not a
a
review, yeah,
fact.
yeah. This one to me, this one kinda came off as, like, there's that moment at 116 where you have, the basketball player Sleepy's what's his name? Sleepy's I can't
Sleepy
remember his name.
Floyd's.
Sleepy Floyd's,
Sleepy
and
Floyd.
it's, like, clearly an infomercial that I feel like those kind of infomercials, you've got these titles, and it's like, "Come down to buy a mattress at Sleepy Floyd's," just kind of over the top, like, I wanna say crappy graphics, but like, the graphics of old that I feel like this kind of worked. Like it almost zooms in that I didn't I didn't actually like read, pay attention too much to the actual words that they were saying. I mean, I did read them, but to me, it just fit the vibe. What about you?
I think they work sometimes. It's typical. I mean, to see that used in movies that played in festivals, because the
Hmm.
movie's been seen already by not like the general public. Obviously, it's just been screened at festivals. And this movie played at Sundance in 2024. So the movie's not been released, but it played at festivals. Who
Yeah.
knows if it played other ones? So those are they're getting that to sort of like obviously drum up interest and exciting, get people's like opinion on it. So that's I think it's more common with those. And I get the tactic.
Well, because also, as you said, anthologies are not frequently done, so this is sort of pushing the boundaries of what people are used to going to theaters to see.
What would this look? I guess like what would this look like without those sound bites,
The
those review bites?
I mean, I think it would
Like
be even faster because it's cut very fast. Like, the thing I really enjoyed about this is I think because it's an anthology, they can do this, and they can have a ton of cuts, and you see a lot of the film, and you still have no idea what's going on in the film, which I really enjoyed because 'cause you're like, "Oh, I get" usually you get, 2 minutes, and sometimes you see too much of a film. Like, a lot of trailers that I'll watch a minute and 25 seconds of it, and I'll stop it because I know, "Oh, I wanna watch it," and I don't wanna potentially get the film ruined because they're trying to fill 2 minutes. And they just are showing stuff, and there just aren't enough scenes for them to show it and it matter. Well, I feel like in this one, because it's the anthology nature and it's like bam, 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 you can add those, um, review, you know, title cards in, and that slows down the pacing and it mix it up and it allows it to like slow so it can ramp up some more.
mhm.
That's how it came off to me.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, it definitely it works, it doesn't it definitely helps to break it up and ramp up like you said. But
But
sometimes
also, I think
I'm always kind of like is it really going to be good? Yeah, you're getting all these like blurbs, the movie hasn't come out yet. These are obviously just from a festival screening and
yeah. It makes me think of an analysis of Christopher Nolan um, montages. And one of the things that Christopher Nolan does really well with his montages is they're not montages just to move forward quickly and get a lot out there. They tell part of the story with it. So, like in Batman Begins, the montages of Bruce's training sequence also showed his attachment with his father and different development stuff of his character. And I feel like when a trailer uses uh the quotations to do more than just have a quotation. Like, I feel like the feel of these quotations that is 80s, that it had a little bit of distortion at times, that it kind of was almost like something you'd see in a movie from back in that era, so it's like, "Oh, we're doing it that way." I feel like that's why it worked well here, is because it wasn't just, "Oh, we're throwing these quotes in for branding or for marketing." It's we're doing it to show more of the story that you wouldn't necessarily see other than I think, again, that sort of a Scott Pilgrim effect in that one sort of anthology side. You don't really see that 80s or that sort of throwback style as much that in that case it added it for me.
okay.
But if it was just like, white lettering on black and slow fade in and then slow fade out, I would have been like, why'd they put those in there?
So they're breaking into the character Sleepy Floyd's house for ancient Asian artifacts.
Like a samurai sword.
Do you think that was that like these ancient Asian artifacts? Do you think that was like a hot ticket item back in the 80s, like black market? Like, why not just like, oh, he has a safe full of money, but like, I don't know if that
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
thing
yeah.
back
No,
then.
I mean, I think it's weird. I think it's weird. I mean, like, but also Gremlins was at that time, and that came from, like this Chinatown shop with
Hmm.
unusual things that I think it's like I feel like in the 80s they had weird just things that they threw in that you're like, why wasn't it money? Like, why doesn't it just gold bullion or, like
Yeah.
whatever? But like I feel like in those movies it was like he's got the original unopened VHS of this movie where there was only 3 printings and like, we're gonna get that, and then we're gonna sell it on the black market because we've got a buyer, and then that's gonna allow us to buy the DeLorean, and then we're gonna use that DeLorean to go back in time and save my wife. Like, these are like crazy storylines.
Yeah.
But I also think it's I again, this felt like it was designed for the trailer, but like I think part of why it's not just gold or cash is so that somebody like you or me goes, well, that's a weird thing to have that they're breaking into. I mean, also like, oh, there's a secret door behind their porn collection that might be the access to the vault. Like, is that in his house or is that a separate job that they're doing?
I think if if you look at it again and a couple more times, you'll see that it's a visual difference again, that when Pedro
Yep. Yep.
Pascal's going into the VHS, it's full screen 60:9. But also I'm a fan of secret wall
Doors.
spaces
Yeah.
behind secret doors behind
I
adult
built
video
I built I
sections.
built one myself, not in a adult video section, but I built a bookshelf that you tilt a book back and then it slides open and it actually hides the closet that's behind it.
That's awesome. I've seen a lot of those kind of things on Instagram, where it's like secret man caves, and it's just these like cool hidden like bar rooms or whatever it is. All right, so just to go, let me just highlight a couple comments that
Yes,
stuck out on
Angel's
YouTube.
YouTube comment corner. Bow, 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 bow.
These are all related, and it goes back into my like instant thoughts of like Pedro Pascal's and everything. Someone said, "So glad to see Pedro Pascal acting again. I watched another trailer earlier, and he wasn't in it. I thought he had retired."
I like that one.
um, Pedro never unemployed Pascal.
May he be so lucky.
Yeah, and then Pedro Pascal is like the new Stan Lee cameo.
Oh, except for Pedro Pascal's in the whole thing, and Stanley
Exactly.
is just,
Yeah, he's just a
the
joke.
bus driver.
Yes. Cool. I think that's all I had. Do you have anything else on this?
No, I mean, I think, yeah, I just going back to what I said, I really hope the movie is as good as the trailer because I think this one plays to the trailer and the way that you can edit it to be and nostalgia. It plays to us as an audience. Like I think younger generation might not attach to this movie as much unless they're going for like vintage throwback kind of thing. That for the kids who are on Discord and TikTok, like this might not be their thing. This is like, oh, look at these filters that was on Snapchat or something. But so be curious. I'd be curious how it plays out across the generations.
So, what's your rating?
Oh, me? I'm definitely seeing this. The question is it streaming or is it in a theater? I mean, I would say this is a cusp. I would like to see it in the theater, but knowing my life right now, I will probably stream it, but I'd definitely try and convince my wife to like, let's make this a date night and rent this and put it on.
All right.
How about you?
I'm going to follow up on all these in 6 months. You've got a lot of movies to watch.
On streaming? No problem.
Yeah. For me, I'm interested. It looks fun. I like anthology films. Similarly, yeah, I'm a little concerned, like, oh, maybe it's just the trailer's just too cool and hip and action and all of that, and like,
Mhm,
but the
mhm.
movie could just be kind of like fall flat. The directors, I'm not like I'm indifferent with about the directors.
I really
Half
enjoyed
Nelson's
Cap
good.
yeah,
Captain Marvel's
Marvel.
fun, but some of their other stuff is like, I mean, they have like like you said earlier, it's like they don't have something that just like sticks out, and maybe that's sort of like they don't have like a shtick. They don't have like a mark, or
Mhm,
signature style or anything like that. So, that could be a benefit, or they could just kind of like jump into any kind of like story and
mhm.
just tell
Maybe
something
maybe
fun.
their
And
maybe their niche is just taking interesting things and making them awesome.
yeah, um, I'd see it in theaters. Uh,
Oh, color me not at all surprised.
no, I mean, I guess
What makes you wanna see this in the theaters versus stream it
that's
at
true.
home?
I mean, that's I guess the thing. It's like,
See, here's the
I'd
thing
stream
for
it.
for me is
I
like
think I'd
yeah,
stream it. I don't know, because like
okay.
I feel like there's another movie coming out that weekend, like that I'd prefer to see in theaters. So,
What movie
but
is that? Please tell
you
me
know.
it's The Materialist starring Pedro
Uh,
Pascal.
yes, yes, the other Pedro Pascal movie. No, I think it's A24's Hell of a Summer.
Okay,
So
I gotta check
if
that
you
one out.
check it out, I'm there for that one. I'd stream this, I'd stream it.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, this is interesting. So what's and this is my quandary always is like, what is the thing that makes you go, okay, compared to seeing it at home? Because now, like, you've got a big TV and good sound system. I've got a projector and projector screen and surround sound system that I think like a lot of people, especially during the pandemic, built up their system so that they could like enjoy it at home because we weren't going out. And so there's that question of like what makes it that much better to go see it in the theaters, especially because at least in New York the cost of going to see it in the theaters, I could just buy it. The cost of two of us going to see it in the theaters, I could buy it and another movie and watch as many times as I want at home.
Yeah, no, I mean you're definitely hitting all the points that you know people are talking about every after the last few weekends. Like the movie box office is down. Snow White didn't do hot this weekend, this
It
past
had a lot of
weekend.
controversy, as we said, though.
But yeah, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I again, I'm a theater proponent. I'm a theater first guy, but I say I would I'd see it in theaters, but ultimately I might not get to it, or just like I lose interest because there's other things coming out. But I guess overall I would see this movie streaming or theater is sort of
Mhm.
my take on it there. Yeah.
Yep. All right, and question we're gonna leave for the comments.
Oh, I put yeah, we can ask like what's your favorite anthology film? There's a lot out there, some more I guess traditional anthology, but more and then there's your others that are kind of like
Like this one
an,
where it's
an
interconnected.
anthology adjacent, too. So, let us know what your favorite anthology film is.
Awesome. And, like and subscribe, or, that's what they say on YouTube, but whatever that is for podcasts. Thanks for listening.
See ya.